first I will talk about the general concept of the browser-based viewing. I will talk about the browsers possible. Then we have a look on the hardware and software requirements. I will talk about the cool preloading feature. Also, I will talk about the API integration capabilities. And then I will directly head over to a live presentation. And finally, I will answer your questions. Okay, let's have a look at the general concept. So with the browser-based viewing, you just log into the UPV server, but the model itself is not hosted on that UPV server, but on a render server. This means we decided for a server-based approach for the rendering. So the model was generated on a render server, and if a client logs into the UPV server, there is a direct connection established between the render server and the client. And once the render server generates the model view, it was transported via a video stream to the client, and in a separate channel, mouse and keyboard inputs were sent to the render server. So what does it mean? It means your model never leaves the server. It's always only on the render server, and on the client, you only see a view or video of the model, but you can drive it with your mouse and keyboard like you can do it with the local version. Okay, so what browsers are supported? So we support all modern web browsers like Chrome, Chromium-based browsers, Firefox, New Edge, so also Safari. So now it's possible to view your models also from Apple devices like Mac computers or iPads. Sorry, we do not support Internet Explorer. This is too outdated. And very important, you don't need any plugin or anything else. Standard functionalities of a web browser is enough for using the browser-based viewing. Okay, let's have a look on the hardware and software requirements. The server itself does not need to be a big machine. We provide versions for Windows, Linux, or Internet Information Server from Microsoft. Here is just a sample configuration that we use in a computing center, so it's a standard Debian Linux server with no special requirements. The render server, that is the big guy that renders the model. This needs to be a Windows machine. It needs to have an NVIDIA graphic card. You can have your own one on premise, or you can have one in the cloud like Azure or Oracle Cloud. And also a mixed mode is possible. So you can connect multiple render servers to one UPV server at the same time, regardless if they are on premise or in the cloud. Here, the sample configuration is what we use in our office. It's an AMD with 16 cores, 64 GB of RAM, and 2 NVIDIA RTX 5000 graphic cards. There might be optional components like an ICE server or authentication server, but that depends on your special needs when you install that solution. Okay, let's talk about the preloading feature. What does preloading mean? So at any time, we can configure the render server so that a model already opens up and waits for a client to connect. If now a client comes in, within 2 seconds, he has access to the model, regardless how big the model is. And immediately after the first client connects, if there is a free slot available, the model starts up again to wait for the next client. And again, if the next client logs in, within 2 seconds, he gets that model, and guess what? The next slot was occupied by preloading the instance again. This way, everybody can log in to huge models within 2 seconds. And that's a real cool feature because it gives you instant access to your models. Okay, another cool feature is our API. So we provide a JavaScript library so you can drive UPV from any external software. And just as one sample, we partner with Oracle and integrated UniversalPlantViewer into the Oracle Primavera Unifier software. And here, just with a hyperlink from within Unifier, we can open up the UPV model, jump to the equipment, and then visualize data. I will later on show this in a live demo. And also we can, from UPV, bring data back to Unifier. So both directions work. Okay, and that brings us to the live demo. So let's open up standard web browser. I'm using Firefox, but as I showed before, all other modern browsers will also do. Okay, I use our folder browser as an entry point, but it can also be a simply hyperlink, or you can have your own intranet page. So all is possible. Okay, so I click here and immediately the model opens up. And if I go to full screen, then it's very hard to see any difference compared to the local installed version. It behaves exactly the same way, so I can move around, I can rotate, but the picture was generated on the render server, and I see only a kind of video stream, and my mouse and keyboard input were transferred to the render server, but it feels without any lag. It feels quite good. It has all the standard functionalities. So if I click on that valve, I can go into an isometric drawing. From the isometric drawing, I can go back. I can jump to IntelliPit, so also pits are supported. So same as standard functionality, you can do such cool things as just selecting a bunch of objects in the PNID, visualize it in 3D, filter it out. So now you only see those elements from the PNID in the 3D view. You can use the Files tab. And for example, see overlay photos like that thermal scan of a stack. The only big difference you will notice is if you are going to save things, then you get a download dialog because you are on a web page. But that's the only noticeable difference between the local installation and the browser-based viewing. And as your device only has to show a video, any device will do. So there is no special hardware needed to display the model, regardless of the model size, because the video stream is independent from the model size. So only the server needs to be a little bit bigger for huge models, but the client does not. It works exactly the same. Okay, so let's jump out here and maybe open up another model. So again, I go to a folder browser and I open up our huge demo. And again, immediately the model is there. And that's 100 times copy of our demo plant. And you see even this. Or I can open a separate tab. Again, go to the folder browser. And let's say I open the robot factory. And now I have a look on the robot factory. And again, now I have the robot factory open. At the same time, because I didn't close it, I can have a look on the huge demo. And just let me show you my task manager. Where is it? It's here. So you see Firefox is only running on 1.2% and 300 megabytes of memory. That's all what the huge model and the robot factory at the same time need on your computer. So really any device will do. Okay, let me show you something else, and for that I need some moments to connect my iPad. So I'm going to connect my iPad so you can see it here. So I'm opening it up. And here you see I have a local version of UPV installed, but I will not use this one, but I will open my email because I received an email and somebody tells me to have a look at a model. So I just click the hyperlink and inside Safari now, UPV opens up. And again, that's browser-based viewing. So any tablet will do. And it works exactly the same as it works on the other browser or on the local installed version. You can just pan around, you can select objects, go back to the 3D view. So also on iPads or any other tablet devices, it runs fully in a browser and no local installation is needed. Okay, so let's close this and let me show you one sample of the API integration. So here, as I already told you, we partner with Oracle and the Primavera Unifier software. So I log into this. So Primavera Unifier is a software when you can fully track your life cycle of your plant. You can automate data flows. If you are interested, have a look at the Oracle side. I'm just showing you what we did. So we brought in our demo plant here so we can organize it. And here we have one equipment. And if I click on that equipment on the right side, you see all the attributes from that equipment. And there is one hyperlink integrated that brings us directly to UPV. So if I click on that hyperlink, UPV, the browser-based viewing, opens up. And you see it directly brings you to that equipment. It zooms to the equipment and goes automatically to the highlight mode. So you directly see where that equipment is located inside your plant. But we can also do other cool things. We can visualize data that flows from Unifier to UniversalPlantViewer. So we can query the Unifier database and visualize the data inside UPV. So here we're visualizing the construction state of equipment. So let's say for that equipment, which is named E240, the current construction state is on hold. So now I'm going to Unifier, searching for my E240, open it up. Then I change the construction state from on hold to ready for installation. I have to save this. Once I save this, I can go back to UPV and query the Unifier database again. And now you see the color immediately changes from red to blue to visualize the data that is held in Unifier. So this way I can really bring data from Unifier, visualize it into UPV. I can also do other things. Let me reset the color. And for example, if I find any defect, like the missing flange here, I can just select those two components involved in the issue. I can type in, give it a title like flange missing. I will not press the create RFI button, but I can create an RFI here. What I will do is I will zoom away and go to Unifier because I've already created several RFIs for that issue. Here is our missing flange RFI, so I will open it up. What it does, when I create that RFI, it creates automatically a screenshot that was sent from UPV to Unifier, so I can open up that screenshot. So you see the issue that when it was created. In the record details also, it generates a hyperlink. And again, if I click on that hyperlink and go to UPV, you see it selects the two involved components and again highlights those two components inside the browser-based UPV. And there is no local installation needed for this. Both pieces of software, Primavera Unifier and UniversalPlantViewer, both run in your web browser. That's just one sample of API integration, but we have a lot of commands available where you fully can drive UPV from your own software or connect it to any other software to make 3D visualization possible. Okay, so that's all. Let's close it here and do a short summary. So browser-based viewing, so you can view any size model on any device because you only have to display a video stream. You have fully protection of your IP. For sure, a real installation will have an authorization needed, so you can fully drive who has access to your model and who has no access. So you are always own your IP. The model never leaves your server. So with the preloading feature, you have instant access to even huge models. It scales perfect with your needs because you can have either render servers on premise, and if needed, you can also rent some additional in the cloud and add it to your installation. That's no problem. And it integrates perfect with your websites and applications.